This is a story about a woman named Tamara Samsanova, also known as Granny Rripper and Baba Yaga. She is a Russian serial killer who was arrested in July 2015 on suspicion of committing two murders with extreme cruelty. She supposedly suffers from schizophrenia and was previously hospitalized 3 times in psychiatric hospitals. When we think of the appearance of a serial killer, very few of us would envision an elderly woman. Tamara was an unassuming, grandmotherly woman. She looked as though she wouldn't hurt a fly. Born in the city of Uzhur, Russia, on April 25, 1947, Tamara graduated from high school, then went to Moscow and attended Moscow State Linguistic University. After graduating, she moved to St. Petersburg and married Alexei Samsonov. In 1971, she and her husband settled in the newly built panel house number 4 on Rimitrov Street. For quite some time, she worked for the Intours travel agency, in particular in the Grand Hotel Europe. By the time she retired, Tamara had worked for 16 years. Tamara's husband disappeared in 2000. She reported him missing to the police. Searches yielded nothing. Not too long after her husband disappeared, Tamara rented out a room to a 44-year-old man. On September 6 of 2003, the two had an altercation, and Tamara killed him. She dismembered him in her bathtub and dumped his body out in the streets. In March of 2015, Tamara needed a place to stay while her apartment was being renovated. Her friend suggested that she move in temporarily with a 74-year-old woman named Valentina. Valentina lived on the same street as Tamara. The two women lived together for quite a few months. Tamara was a wonderful guest at first. However, she enjoyed living there so much that she had decided she didn't want to move back into her own apartment. Eventually, Valentina would ask Tamara when she was planning on moving out. The two got into an argument over doing the dishes, when Tamara had decided she'd had enough and poisoned one of Valentina's favorite salads with a drug called phenazepam. This caused Valentina to collapse to the floor. Valentina was still alive when Tamara began to use a hacksaw to dismember her body, right there in the kitchen floor. She removed the lungs and hands and placed them in a saucepan, along with the head. Police believe that Tamara then cooked and possibly cannibalized those body parts. Tamara disposed of Valentina's torso in a St. Petersburg pond, and the limbs were found not far from the apartment. A couple was out walking their dog when they stumbled upon Valentina's body parts in a garbage bag. Police were called to the scene and they noticed cameras in the area. After reviewing the footage, it was obvious who was responsible for the contents of the bag. Neighbors were shocked to hear the news, especially since Tamara had lived quietly in the complex for the last 40 years. Law enforcement went to Tamara's apartment to arrest her and were shocked to find blood spatter in the kitchen and bathroom. Tamara's diary was on a nightstand, and when detectives opened it, they found details of many cannibalistic murders that she had committed over the last 20 years. Tamara admitted in her journals that she liked to remove the lungs of her victims and eat them. It's been said that there was an aspect of dark magic in a lot of the murders. Tamara's diary revealed many more murders. Investigators believe that some of the diary's claims of murder may just be fantasy, though. In 2003, a 44-year-old deceased male had been found in that same district. The case remained unsolved until a tattoo he had on his body matched the description Tamara had written in her journal. The man's name was Volodya, and he had been a tenant of Tamara's. She wrote that she had sliced him into small pieces in her bathtub, then dumped his remains in numerous places around the Frzenki district. Tamara was arrested and taken into custody on July 27, 2015. The footage on the cameras caught her dismembering the body of Valentina carrying the pieces out in a plastic bag, along with her head and lungs in a saucepan. Tamara was interrogated by police and easily confessed to her grisly actions, claiming an additional 21 murders, although the exact number of victims is unknown. Tamara pled guilty to the charges, blew a kiss to reporters, and giggled during her court hearing. Tamara said, "I did it to be known as a serial killer. It's all deliberate. I've been preparing for this day for 10 years. I'm a very old person and I know I have nowhere to live, so I decided that I must go to prison. I will die there and the state will probably bury me. It is such a disgrace for me. I am guilty and deserve punishment." Tamara was remanded in custody to await trial in connection with 14 murders. She supposedly suffers from schizophrenia and was previously hospitalized 3 times in psychiatric hospitals. She was forced to take a forensic psychiatric exam, and on November 15, 2015, the results determined that she was a danger to society and herself, and therefore she was placed in a specialized institution until the end of the investigation. In December 2015, Tamara was sent for compulsory psychiatric treatment in a specialized hospital in Kazan. She lives there as of this day. The blood in Tamara's apartment tested positive for one of her former lodgers, Sergei Patvayan. Tamara also confessed to an old classmate that she had murdered her mother-in-law. It's believed that apartment blocks in the area have been developed on top of the Granny Rripper's dumping grounds. Although Tamara refused to give authorities any details of the 11 suspected remaining victims, they hope one day they will find them. She can't be charged with any of their deaths until they're found, dead or alive.